Hello, my name is Tina Collier, and I'm going to be talking about Glass Slipper, Gold Sandal, A Worldwide Cinderella by Paul Fleischman. It's illustrated by Julie Pashkis. I chose this book to teach to a 5th grade class for a couple of different standards. One of the standards addresses theme, which is also main idea. It also uses lots of figurative language, and it's also great because it's a multicultural book. So there's plenty of different regions, countries, ethnicities to talk about as we read the book. Before reading, I would ask students, what do you predict the theme of this book will be based on the cover? Please remember that as we're reading the story, to look for figurative language and literal language. Remember, figurative language may not mean exactly what it says, while literal language means exactly what it says. So let's begin. Glass Slipper, Gold Sandal, A Worldwide Cinderella by Paul Fleischman. Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy merchant whose wife had died. They had one daughter, gentle-eyed and good-hearted. Down the road lived a widow with 2 daughters. The woman gave the girl treats when she passed, pan dulce to eat, sugar cane to chew. Do you know what pan dulce is? The girl knew that her father was lonely. You should marry the widow, she told him. She's nice to me. The father had his doubts, but the girl kept asking. And how long can a father say no to his daughter? And so he and the widow were married. But no sooner had the stepmother moved in than she began to order the girl about. All day long, she set her to weeding the rice fields and cooking and carrying. The woman gave the girl's room to her own lazy daughters. At night, the girl had nowhere else to sleep, but curled up for warmth among the ashes on the hearth. Her stepmother allowed her only a few scraps of food. Her stomach howled. Do you really think her stomach howled? Then the girl recalled how she begged her father to marry. I pick up the scorpion with my own hand, she told herself. Would that be considered figurative language? She vowed not to complain to her father and upset him. But when the girl was out tending the cattle, the beast heard her crying for hunger. Don't weep, said one of the cows, and the animal poured honey from its horn. And the fairy gave her figs and apricots. And Godfather Snake gave her rice. Once she was eating well and proper, the girl bloomed into a right rare beauty. Again, do you think maybe this might be figurative language or literal language? Did she actually bloom? The stepmother couldn't fathom it. And meanwhile, her own sour-faced daughters would curdle the milk if they looked at it twice. And on the girl's feet appeared a pair of glass slippers. Does that sound familiar? Diamond anklets, sandals of gold. Walk to the ball, said the girl's auntie. Never! She picked a big round breadfruit from a tree and tapped it 3 times with her wand. Quick as the blink of a firefly, that breadfruit changed itself into a coach. When she made her entrance, so great was her beauty that the musicians stopped playing. No one, not even her stepmother, knew who the beautiful stranger was. All night the girl danced with the headman's son until the first rooster crowed. Do you think that's literal or figurative language? Did they really dance until the rooster crowed? She and the great king were married at the palace where the guests feasted on mangoes, melons, rice seasoned with almonds, beef stew and lamb stew, and yeast cookies and custards. Such a wedding it was, and such an adoring couple, such a wonderful turn of events. The people today are still telling the story. So now that you've read the story, can you tell me what the main idea of the book is? Is it a familiar theme that you've seen before in another story? While we were reading, did you pay attention to the figurative language? Did you see any literal language? Did anything stand out to you? Did you notice any similes or metaphors? Do you have any other questions? All right, thank you for listening. The reason I chose this story is because it has plenty of discussion topics. You could spend 1 day on this book. You could spend a couple of days on this book, but you have many different activities you could do because of all of the choices you have throughout. I personally chose figurative language because there's a few things that stand out there that could sound literal, and then there's a few things that are literal that sound figurative. So this would be a great way to talk to kids about how they could tell the difference between the two. Also, it can be adjusted for like a shorter lesson, or it can be adjusted for more than one lesson. You could even do a project in a book like this. So if you'll watch my 4 activities coming up, you'll see the things I came up with. Thank you.